Hi World Tempest family, we're so pleased you're joining us today because we're a little bit further from home than usual. We are in Fleurier visiting a brand that I'm sure many of you know of, but maybe not as well as it deserves. I'm talking about a company that makes timepieces that are technically and aesthetically on the same level of the world's most famous and prestigious watch brands, a company called Parmigiani. Today, we're going to be focusing on their award-winning Tonda Hijri Perpetual calendar, a complicated wristwatch based on the calendar system used by most of the Arab world. Now, if you're watching this video, there's a high chance that you love watches, you're already familiar with perpetual calendars, maybe even some of the less commonly seen calendar complications. But just to make sure all our bases are covered, I'm going to do a quick recap and refresh of these terms. There's two things we want to get into, two things that will allow you to essentially become an expert on this watch. First of all, what is a perpetual calendar? Secondly, the Hijri calendar. In a timepiece, the most basic level of calendaric information you can have is the simple date. You have a big disc with 1 to 31 for the number of days in a month, and every 24 hours it clicks forward one step and you can see the date through a little window on the dial. Of course, not all months have 31 days, and at the end of those months you have to manually advance the date so it correctly indicates that it's the 1st and not the 31st. Now I'm going to skip right to the other end of the complication spectrum to talk about one of the most complex calendar mechanisms we have, which is the perpetual calendar. There's other calendars in between, like the annual calendar, but we won't go into that right now. The perpetual calendar adjusts itself at the end of the months that have fewer than 31 days. You don't have to do a single thing. Even at the end of February, it's programmed to go from indicating 28 for the last day of the month, or 29 if it's a leap year, and then to 1 for the 1st of March. I say programmed because that's exactly what a perpetual calendar is, what all mechanical watches are to some extent. They're mechanical computers. Now, for the Hijri calendar, even if you have absolutely zero idea of how it works or have never lived anywhere with a large Muslim community, you know that the Arabic calendar doesn't follow the same cadence as the Gregorian calendar. Ramadan this year was mid-April to mid-May. Last year it was late April to late May, and then in 2019 it was pretty much the entire month of May. This is because the Hijri calendar is a lunar calendar. One lunar cycle is 1 month. You have 12 lunar months, and that's 1 lunar year. On the other hand, the Gregorian calendar is based on the solar year, the amount of time it takes for the Earth to go 1 round around the sun. Each lunar cycle is approximately 29.53 days long. Well, 29 and a half. But it's obviously not very practical to have months that are 29 and a half days long. So a neat compromise to that is to have some months 30 days, some months of 29 days, and then it kind of evens out. If you want to do things the old school way, the month starts when the waxing crescent moon just begins to be visible, hence marking the start of the next lunar cycle. The sequence of months with 29 days and months with 30 days is therefore not fixed. However, to make life a little more consistent for everyone, the standardized Hijri calendar, which the Tonda Hijri Perpetual calendar is based on, alternates 1 month of 30 with 1 of 29. If you're relying on your watch for religious observances though, it's probably better to confirm exact dates with your local religious leaders or, Google. Also, just a bit earlier, I said that the lunar cycle is actually 29.53 days. So when you round that down to 29 and a half, after a while, all those 0.03s, they start adding up. And then once in a while, you have to add an extra day into the calendar so that you still stay in sync with what's actually going on in the sky with the moon. Those years with an extra day are called abundant years, and the others are called common years. Every 30 years, every block of 30 years, you get 11 abundant years and 19 common years. The Parmigiani Fleurier Tonda Hijri Perpetual calendar takes all this into consideration and keeps track of everything beautifully. So If you look at the sub-dial here at 12 o'clock, you'll see the abundant years indicated in green colored script. At 3 o'clock, you have the indication of the months, with the holy month of Ramadan indicated in red script. The moon phase is at 6 o'clock, just here. And at 9 o'clock, the date with an aperture that turns white during months of 29 days, switching to green during months of 30 days. So that's kind of it for our little exploration of the Parmigiani Tonda Hijri Perpetual calendar. If you can find one near you, I totally encourage you to go check it out. If not, I hope you enjoyed this video anyway. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments what you'd like us to bring to you next. So take care. Bye.